work out every time, and there's always like this underlying thing that you can't put your finger on. Okay? And I want to talk about that. That is our main point of today. So we're going to straighten out a problem that's blocking you in that area. And it actually goes along with how you're paying them. Okay? And again, your number one gripe is you don't know how to pay these people. So we're going to address this problem. I'm going to show you how we can address this problem through paying them, because I'm going to tell you all the problems you're having with your CMAs are problems of how you're establishing their salary and how you're bonusing them. And let me show you what I mean. You go do a job for somebody. Okay, I don't care if it's cleaning the floor. Let's say it's cleaning the floor. You go do a job for somebody and you're a floor cleaner and you have a cleaning service, and you go and you clean the linoleum floor in Walmart or something. And Walmart then cuts you a check for what we hope is a clean floor. Those of us who've been in the business for a while know we would rather pay for a clean floor than someone to do the action of cleaning a floor, right? But that's the subject of a whole other show that we could do. But suffice to say that you provide Walmart with a clean floor, and Walmart pays you for a clean floor, or the clean floor that you created. Now, Walmart also needs their floor polished, so they have a floor polisher. And the polisher comes in, and he polishes up the floor, and he makes it look all shiny and spiffy, and Walmart cuts him a check. Not for polishing the floor, but for a polished, shiny floor. Okay? Very basic business 101 kind of stuff. Now let's look at your marketing assistant. What is your marketing assistant doing? And most of you answer that question as follows. I pay my chiropractic marketing assistant to get me new patients. And that's absolutely a fallacy. And I'm going to prove that to you. Let's go back to our floor cleaner and our floor polisher. Now, granted, I'm sure nowadays the cleaners and polishers are one company, but let's separate them out for a moment. Just humor me for a second. The floor cleaner, okay, we're making an analogy here as to what you're doing with your assistant now. So you in this scenario would be the Walmart, and your CMA would be the floor cleaner in this case, okay? Your CMA comes in, gives you a clean floor, and you tell the CMA that the CMA cannot get paid until the floor is polished and shiny. And then you're bringing in a separate floor polisher to give you a shiny floor. And only then does the floor cleaner get paid. No matter how clean the floor was, that floor, until it's polished, that cleaner is not going to get paid. Do you see the ridiculousness of this, right? The absurdity of it. It's you're paying someone for a job the next person in line is doing. Now, I know you've probably gotten this argument from your CMA before if you've ever had experience with this. You've gotten that argument and you've probably argued back against it, but I'll bet you in the back of your mind it seemed logical to you, but you didn't know what was wrong. Now, guess what? Now, here's the part you're going to like, because I know so far I might have lost some of you. Please keep listening. We're going to get to something. Here is the bonus. The bonus is that you are not only paying for the incorrect service, but you are paying too much. And that's why when they give you that logical argument that you think in the back of your head that it sounds logical, but it doesn't make sense. The reason you're resisting it right now is not because it's not true, it's because on the existing bonus structure, it's too big. And you need to think smaller. That's the good news that I'm going to present you with today. Now, let's put it into the real scenario now. Your CMA, if he's not there to provide you with new patients, then what is he there to provide you with? Here's the answer. The CMA is there to provide you with leads. Now, stay with me here because, again, I could lose a bunch of you on the word leads because you're like, leads are not worth anything to me, but they are. Who are the two people? Who's the cleaner and the polisher? We know who the cleaner is. The cleaner is the CMA. The polisher is the salesperson in-house, the person who sells the treatment plans. Most of you listening, that's you. Most of you that have a new patient manager, new patient advocate, whatever you call them, okay, that would be that person. Whoever sits down and closes the treatment plan is that person. So there are two people. Most of you are saying, if you get a person into the office, now you're telling the screener or the CMA, if you get a person into the office and they stay 4 visits, you get your bonus, okay? And it's a nice size bonus, which you don't want to pay out if the person is quote unquote not qualified, and you're basing qualification on whether the person got closed under care. And that's really not the responsibility of a person outside. Now, I gave you an example in another podcast of I believe it was like an auto dealership or something like that, right? And auto dealerships are a good example because it's an example of sales. And I told you that sales don't happen externally in your practice. All the referral activity and screenings and all this different stuff is not a sales activity. It's a lead generating activity for your salesperson, the polisher, the new patient advocate, you, okay, in the practice, whoever's closing the treatment plans. He needs as many qualified leads in front of him as possible so he can close a lot of packages. And that's what you're looking to do. So a salesman, like in an auto dealership, looks for leads that he can get to show up and sit in front of him so he can sell them. And that's the difference between lead generation and sales. So your CMA is a lead generation person, and that will change your whole situation just knowing that. And then realize that you're paying too much, because you need to establish a good bonus. If they're going to wait for 4 visits or 5 visits or whatever, you need to make it a good sizable bonus, because when the person closes, you want to make sure that you can pay them a chunk of it. And if they don't close, you don't want to pay them that chunk. Now, if you bonus much less, what you're going to do, and this is key, is you're going to get a volume of leads sitting in front of you to close, and that's what you want out of a CMA. You want volume in the office. So you pay out a lower bonus on arrivals to the office. And that is a very valid thing, because even though you can say my front desk CA is responsible for getting the person to arrive, it's not necessarily fully true that it's her total responsibility. The CMA has to make a quality close, quality enough that they're willing to and interested in showing up. And that's one of your biggest buttons that you have already, is that people just aren't showing up. So you bonus them on arrivals, and then you have a person who's not only bending over backwards to make sure people show, but you have a person who's going to bend over backwards to do it in volume so that they can earn their salary and make a good amount of money. Does that make sense to you all? Do you see how simple this is? So it's very simple. So you need to separate out those two actions and then reduce the bonus. Now, it sounds like to you right now, I know what you're thinking, that your CMA is going to be disappointed or they're going to gripe over this or whatever, but in the long run they will be happier, because they will see their job is going to be easier and all they have to do is one thing, and as soon as that thing happens, they get paid. So if you're paying $100 per person who stayed for 4 visits, you pay $20 for 1 arrival. Now, these aren't actual numbers. I'm making them up off the top of my head. You have to really sit down and figure out what it's worth. And of course, you could make a bonus program where the person says, okay, it's $20 a head if they arrive, and if you get in any given week more than 20 arrivals, new patient arrivals, then it's $25 a head or whatever. You can make whatever games that you want. Okay, that's really what I want you to really get here. Okay, so. Let's just summarize for a second. This was sort of a short one, but it's really, really important that you get this, okay? So in the process of the ins and outs of hiring and employing CMAs, you have to salary them and bonus them properly to keep them and, more importantly, keep them producing. And the crux of the problem is paying them for something that's not their job. So therefore, you're getting less leads in front of your salesman, and you're bonusing the salesman and the lead provider on the same thing when they need to be separated out. So your CMA gets bonused on arrivals and only arrivals. And that's whatever the CMA is doing. If they're doing social media, if they're doing print ads, whatever they're doing, okay, you bonus them on the arrivals that they create, and that's going to make them think of ways they can get more people to show up in the office. Now, of course, you're going to talk to them about qualified and all the qualities you need, but you set that up in the rules of the game at the beginning, and everybody's happy. And I promise you that will happen if you actually straighten that out. Okay, the last word. Who gets the last word? I do. After all, it's my show. And we started this, it's a growing tradition now that I want to sort of give you what you should take away from my podcast show. So what should you take away from today's podcast? If anything, I hope to have shifted your view and maybe expose some of the mistakes you're unknowingly making, or I know that you are, in this area. Paying bonus for work of someone else is the fastest ticket to practice marketing failure. And I really mean that. And that's that I know of or have seen anywhere. So look for the right qualities and then bonus correctly and you'll succeed. What are the right qualities? I promised to talk about that briefly. I'm going to talk about that now in the last word. The qualities mostly that you're looking for are willingness and persistence. When I say willingness, I just mean the person's willing to do whatever you say, whatever advice you're giving them. If you're being coached, to listen to the coach, or they listen to this podcast and they're just willing to absorb stuff and go out and do their job better and figure out ways to better do their job. That's quality number one. Number two is they obviously should have purpose for chiropractic, so you should put them through your 1 day, 2 day, 4 day, whatever that you do, and make sure you get them on board. Put their nose in your success story book. Let them see what they're contributing to. And finally, and the most important one that I can tell you, is persistence. They have to have almost an obscene amount of persistence. Persistence in the face of when things don't seem like they're working. And those are the qualities that you should look for. Follow this advice. Don't believe me. Follow it, see what happens, and let me know. Give me some feedback. Now, our next episode is up in the air, but no worries, it's never for long. I have a whole list of them. Let me read off some of them. How about using your practice to get out of debt? That's a good topic. This is sort of based on some of the survey data we have. How about what I call infiltrators to your profession, and how they've gotten into your heads and made you sort of a little bit apathetic or doomsday about expanding your practice into the community. And then maybe one dedicated to building a screening quality to all of your advertising. I keep talking about that, and I think it would be good to dedicate an episode, and about getting your patients to screen like pros as well. That's another popular one. And, well, look, all this and more, I definitely promise you. Okay? We're running out of time here, so please continue to listen, subscribe and download. You'll find us on all kinds of social media, and you can find all the links on screeningexperts.com. Like us on Facebook, +1 us on Google+, and follow us on Twitter. And we want more likes on the page and whatever. Twitter is, our Twitter handle is WW4P Podcasts, and Facebook.com/willwork, the number 4 patients. Write in to me. Please send me more suggestions, questions. I love getting them. I love reading the mail. We're going to do a segment very soon of listener mail, and I would like to start reading some things on air. frank.screenings@live.com. Please refer others to listen. I want all your homies to tune in. This is a grassroots effort to build an audience that will go viral and make a chiropractic world like we all want. Okay? Is that a deal? Is that a deal? Good. So, my friends, we've come to the end of another successful episode. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm so happy you were here with us, and we'll see you next time for another action-packed episode of Will Work for Patients. So long.
Be sure to subscribe and share. Will Work for Patients has been brought to you courtesy of Screening Experts, bringing unscripted simplicity to chiropractic marketing complexity. Today's episode, copyright Screening Experts LLC, musical score composed and arranged by Frank Sardella ASCAP. For more information, visit screeningexperts.com.